Okay, so instead of printing all your papers out and grading them, what I've done is graded them on the computer online. And so you've submitted a digital copy into a safe assignment. We'll talk about what a safe assignment is for a minute. But go ahead and go into Blackboard and go to your grade book. Then the only item in our grade book for the on-campus class is this paper. And so you should see your grade, which everybody that submitted it basically got the 10 points. And what I'm doing with the grade is that I believe that your overall, the final essay will be worth 75 points, and 10 of those 75 is your rough draft that you submitted for me. So as long as you submitted something that was worthwhile, I gave you the 10 points, and then I'll go back at the end and when you submit your final copy and grade it, I'm pretty sure it'll be worth 75 points. So if you click on your grade, then it should take you into, so when you click on your grade, it should take you into there where you will see, first of all, you'll see a submitted file that I returned back to you. If you scroll down, currently attached file, go ahead and you should have that document there. Go ahead and open up that document. Go ahead and open up that document and you will see, basically I went through using the commenting tool of Word and did that. Now some of you that are on the Macs, does it work okay? Okay, so you should be able to see on the right side the comments that I wrote. You may need to zoom in. The comments do kind of write in fairly small, so you may need to zoom in. But basically, take a few minutes here, and I want you to go through and read the comments that I put in there, and then we will talk about those in just a second. Okay, one of the first things I want to show you, I'm going to show you a variety of things. Some may apply to you, some may not. If you'll go back into the gradebook, please. Go back into, so minimize your Word document. You don't necessarily have to close it, just minimize and get back into the grade that I gave you. You'll notice that I had you submit these in what was called safe assignment. And safe assignment, we're all teachers here, this is instructional technology. Safe assignment is a software program. It's actually a building block that builds into Blackboard that when you submit your paper through safe assignment, actually it checks it for plagiarism. Okay? It goes through and it checks it against any website any paper that has been submitted of any university, school, whoever that is using safe assignment across the country. It checks it against all those things. And so it's a great plagiarism tool. Turnitin.com is another type of one. Safe Assign is what we happen to use with Blackboard. And so anytime that I have you submit papers, it's not a secret by any means, but anytime that I have you submit papers, I always submit them through that so I can check with plagiarism because it happens a whole lot. And it actually a couple times in my experience so far has it happened just outright, just plagiarized. Most of the time, I'm finding that students don't understand the rules in terms of writing, and so it's actually a great teaching tool as well. But if you look here on your grade there, you'll see it says the essay report, and there's a little checkbox, and it'll give you a percentage, okay, matching 4%. In this particular class, majority of you were matching fine, and that's great. If you'll click on the essay report, it'll open up the safe assignment report. Okay, so as you'll look here, Brittany, are you okay with me using yours? Okay, and so just because it picks up from safe assignment doesn't mean that it's plagiarism, okay? Here, I'm glad Brittany has a great example. Here, it picks up another student's paper from Jacksonville State University, okay? As I scroll down, it'll show me highlighted what that happens to be, and in this case, it happens to be part of her works cited page, okay? So that's fine, okay? Obviously, what you put in your works cited, a reference is going to read the same from anybody that submits a reference around the country. That's going to pick up the same, so that's okay. There's no problem with that. And so, you have to take into account the percentage. It's not like it's just a blank rule. If you have more than 12%, you've plagiarized too much. Okay. As you look up here, most of yours were fine, and this was kind of a personal philosophy paper, so there wasn't a lot of that. As you start getting into more research papers that I've seen submitted, I see more of it. But an example up here, if you look, this is another student from a different class. Okay, and so this particular had 13%. But as I scroll down here, a nice thing is that as I go over it, I can click, and it'll show me the uploaded manuscript, and this is what this particular student wrote, and this is what the internet site found. Now, there's no guarantee that it's from that particular website. There's no guarantee that this student went to that website. It's just matching it. And in this case, it's only saying it's matched 67%. So in terms of plagiarism, in terms of using other people's writing, the rule is what? Okay, but how many words can you use? Okay, as a general rule, 3 or more words is plagiarism. Okay, and so, okay, so we have 3 or more words, but then it's still plagiarism if you just take and jumble around the words. Okay, even if you mix this, or maybe you add a single word in between. Well, that's not plagiarism. Okay, and I remember as a student doing that, and that still is plagiarism. Okay, and so keep that in mind. And so it may only match 67%, but if basically what you've done is just taken and reworded or just move some words around, it still is plagiarism. If you want to use word for word from another source, you have to do what? Put it in quotation marks. If you want to use directly from another source, that's fine. You can do that. You have to put it in quotation marks and cite it. Okay? It's not good enough just to cite alone. Just because you put a cite there, the citation or reference doesn't mean that you can still do word for word. Okay? You have to have the combination of 2 quotes and that. So as you can see here, I think on this one, there you can see uploaded manuscript compared to the internet source. That is word for word. Now, as an instructor, I still have to go in and look because it doesn't take into account if the student did put quotation marks. Okay? And so in this case, he did or didn't. And so I still need to go into the actual paper and look. And so it's not a blanket thing. There's some variation there, but it is still a good tool that works well. Even if you do a bunch of quotations, okay, if 50% of your paper is quotes from somebody else, then that's not a good thing. Now, getting into the actual formatting of your paper, I saw a lot of errors, and actually a lot of the errors tend to be from actually the way that Microsoft 2007 does things. You don't need a title page for this particular assignment. You don't have to have a title page if you are using the MLA style. The example that I gave you in Epsilon, and this example here is the MLA style, where you basically have these headers here with the information for you. If you have this, then you don't need a title page. If you're using an APA style, where you don't include these things here, and all you have is a title, then yes, put a title page on the first page, and that's fine. And you can look for examples on the web in terms of title page. I'm not too picky. Basically, you need to have this information. But in all things, you don't enlarge the text. Your text should stay the same, 12-point font throughout the whole document. So even if you do a title page, don't make your title nice and big or bold it. You keep the standard font throughout. Your whole document should be double-spaced. And so I see often a lot of times, like I have here, that this is not double-spaced. This is like quadruple-spaced. Okay, and that's incorrect. There should only be, including the title, there should only be a double space in between the spacing there. And a big thing that I find that Word 2007 does is it puts this, I don't even know what you want to call it, a 2.5 space in between the paragraphs, which is incorrect. So, to fix that, what you need to do is simply do a Control-A or highlight everything. And if you're writing a paper from the start, you would do this at the start. Now, before you start writing anything, do these. If you already have your paper written out, you can Control-A, highlight everything. And if you're using 2007, go to the paragraph. And here we want to make sure that everything is double-spaced. And the big kicker where you get that spacing is this spacing after. That needs to be changed to 0. That's where you're getting that extra space after paragraphs, is this space after. So change that to 0, hit OK, and notice now here that now I've double space here. You can turn your paragraph or your symbols on there to see if you have extra ones. You should not. And so throughout the whole document then you should have double space throughout. Okay, including the works cited page. So now I need to move this works cited page down. The works cited page should be on its own page. If you're using the MLA, then it's titled Works Cited. If you're using APA, I believe it's References. It's title references. So depending on which style you're using, you have that there. But this should be double space all the way through. All right, another very common mistake I have seen is that with your header, the font and size of your header should match the rest of your document. So I can see right here already that this is not Times New Roman, okay? And so I need to double click on that, highlight this, go back to your home and change that. It's the Calibri default, so change that to your Times New Roman. It's not smaller font, it should be 12 as well. So you need to make sure you do that. So your header should be the same. Some of you didn't have a header. You should have a header right aligned on each page with your last name and the page number. Those are the only two things that you need is your last name and the page number. I guess in the APA style, you may have a running header with the title. No, I think still in the APA style, you just have the, right?
In the APA, it's the title of your paper.
Okay. In the APA, it's the title and that, okay?